Our Stitching Chronicles, the craft podcast where every stitch tells a story.
We're your hosts. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Kendall. We're here to chat, stitch and explore the stories behind our stitching.
So grab your yarn, find a comfy spot and knit along with us as we share stories, projects and hopefully a few laughs along the way.
Let's cast on chapter 17 of Our Stitching Chronicles.
Yay! Woo! Well, I just want to say a quick hello to, we've actually got a lot of new subscribers on our channel and we just want to say we are so happy that you're here.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here. We just love having this little community.
Little bubble.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say hi and welcome and thank you.
Yeah. So whether the algorithm brought you here or someone else recommended us, thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Join the chaos. We have fun.
We have fun.
All right. Kendall, what are you wearing? Can we start with you because yours is so exciting.
Mine is my finished object.
Oh, okay. Now we'll start with me.
Start with
you. Start with
and
boring
then we'll
first.
Segue into.
I am wearing my Simple Things jumper or sweater by Kutova Kika. Was this last year's project? Or was it this year? No, I think it was last year.
Yeah, I think it was last year.
This was a whole thing. I hated the process of knitting this. I knit it in the 8-ply Bendigo Woollen Mills Luxury on 4mm needles. And I had to go down to 4mm needles to meet gauge. That was a whole saga. Look, go watch the podcast where I talk about this one. I don't know which one actually, to be perfectly honest. There was a few. But it hurt my hands. It was a slog. I ended up knitting it too short because I just did not want to keep going with the body. But as you can tell by all the pilling on it, I wear it a lot. So yes, that is I did put some elastic in this collar because I found that it was like going too wide.
Yeah, look great.
But yeah, that's my...
And it's a little bit like classic Bendigo Woollen Mills. It was when it catches the light, it kind of looks a bit brighter. And brighter.
I do love the colour and I get a lot of comments on the colour. I will say a lady at my work, I wear this to work a bit, and a lady at my work, when we were going to the Crafty Kittens market thingy, and she asked what I was doing on the weekend, I told her about that and she's like, oh, what craft do you do? And I was a little surprised because everyone at the office knows I knit. And I said, I knit. And then she asked what kinds of things I knit. And I said, oh, well, I knit this jumper. And she was actually floored. She thought that it was store-bought.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's like the highest compliment that you can...
I got into an argument about one of my green matcha jumper.
Yes.
Because I was talking to someone at work and they were like, I've got that jumper. I was like, no, you don't. And she's like, no, I absolutely do. I said, there is no way you can have this exact jumper. She's like, no, I do. I got it from Sportscare. I was like, no. Because I made mine. She was like, what? I was like, yeah.
I knit mine myself. We do not have the same jumper. Sportscare might have stolen the pattern.
I promise you it's different. There is no way.
There is my own human hair knitted into this.
Exactly.
Anyway, we digress. Kendall.
Finished object. I'm in my finished object. It was a very, very early cast on in the progress.
And whip.
Like I think I had like a line. Acquisition, cast on, tiny little bit. This is the Sollas Cardigan by CreaBea or Rebecca Clow in the Skein Machine colorway Boysenberry Langhorne base with Folklore and Fibre.
Buttons. The buttons just, honestly,
very close.
Chef's kiss.
Obsessed with all of it. It is. I haven't blocked it yet.
And now the Langhorne base, what's that made out of?
Okay, great question.
Intentional question.
Alpaca.
Oh, yes, alpaca, yep.
Silk.
So it's 70% alpaca,
So
20% silk,
and cashmere.
and 10% cashmere.
It's so soft.
It is incredible.
So soft. Like, I thought that I might have to frog it and redo a section. And I was like, I wouldn't even mind because it is, like, just delightful to work with. On that, I bought 4 skeins of yarn because that was like 400 grams. That was going to be the required amount. I have so much left over.
So much.
So I probably could have like made it longer here it's probably a little bit smaller than it was supposed to be. I was knitting to gauge, but something obviously changed. But, like, I have a ball and a half left over.
Yeah, because it sits just at your pant line, doesn't it? But I reckon when it blocks, it will probably drop a bit.
Yeah. But I wouldn't want the sleeves any longer. And
no.
I love it. I love the colour.
It's such a good fit. And the colour is, it's a U colour. Look how much yarn she has left over. That's like a whole hank.
That's a whole hank. And then that's about, I think, 50.
What are you going to make?
Well, because I love how soft it is and how, like, scrunchy it is, I'm going to go with a scarf. Not the Stay Toasty, but it is very similar. It's very similar to the Stay Toasty. But because I have so much yarn left, it's a bit more of a triangle shape.
Okay, yeah.
It's on its way to being a shawl, but it's not.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Because we've always said we're not shawl knitters, but
no.
it's on its way.
But I do love a good triangle scarf, so yeah.
So I just think it's so soft that you want it on your skin.
Yes.
So I love it. Delightful. Amazing.
I love it.
And because it didn't use as much yarn, I'm like, the cost for it is actually a lot lower than I was expecting.
Yes,
so.
true, because you get a jumper and a scarf out of it.
From 2.5?
Yep. Far out.
Yeah.
That's insane. 2.5.
So 250 grams.
Far out. And what was the knitting process like?
Really easy. Not really much to say. It's a cardigan. You end up doing rows back and forth, but
yeah,
I used my Knit Pros. I used the bamboo ones. They're amazing. Beach.
Basic beach.
So glad I got them. They're amazing. They're just smooth. I don't know. It was nothing to report.
Okay.
It was just under a month.
Can I just, though, love this detailing. I don't know, can you see that in the video? I absolutely love, let me just block out my face, the detailing of that shoulder.
Yes.
Of like...
So, very similar to Rosie and Harriet in that you kind of, is it called like set-in sleeve? It's not really a set-in sleeve, like contiguous maybe?
Oh, look, you're asking the wrong person. Can someone tell us?
I know. Katie, we need you.
Yes.
Where you are doing increases and then picking them up and then continuing your increases.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So don't you like do...
You do the back.
You do the back.
Then you do the front. And there are only very small sections. And then you're kind of like picking back up.
But you're doing the raglan. It's a whole thing. It's actually not as complicated but I've watched a lot of different people talk about this style and no one can explain it very well.
I think because I did the Rosie first.
Yeah.
When it came to this, I was like, oh yeah, I've done that. I know how to do it.
Yeah. And I think because you'd done the Rosie when I did the Harriet, I was like, yeah, I think I get it. But I just love like, I don't know, that little braiding type situation that's happening there.
Yeah.
Mwah. Love it.
And I thought that my tension was going to be off and rowing out because it definitely was, and you could kind of see where like the difference between the sleeves because the sleeves are knit in the round versus the cardigan. But I think after a couple of wears, it really has just kind of like
relaxed
balanced
into
out.
it.
So, and when I block it will relax again.
Yep.
But I love it. It is so cozy.
Beautiful. 10 out of 10 recommend?
10 out of 10 recommend. Recommend the yarn. Recommend the
pattern.
Colour. Recommend the pattern. And I'm like...
And the buttons.
Because it's a CreaBea.
Yeah.
Like, this is the DK cardigan round neck.
Yeah.
But the pattern has like a Henley and everything.
Everything. So many.
So many. Really love it. Could make a jumper. Could make a... I don't know. Got options.
Maybe I'll make the Henley. I've got too many things on my to knit list. I have been so good.
You have been so good.
But let's dive into my first finished object. And I'm actually going to piggyback off of... I have 3 finished objects this episode. Who am I? But I'm going to piggyback off of you with the Langhorne.
Yes.
I have finished my Stay Toasty scarf. Oh, I'm also doing the whole Kutova Kika thing today.
You are.
So this is the Stay Toasty scarf by Kutova Kika, and I also knit this in the Langhorne base by Skein Machine. I knit it in the colour in the buff, which I think is undyed. JMO, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's undyed. Hence the in the buff, because that means like it's natural. You're naked. A really cool like knit purl garter stitch kind of combo to make this pattern. You can't see it very well, but it does have a slight little triangular dip right there. I don't know, you can't see it. I did knit it slightly longer than the pattern suggested. I kept going with increases until I was 50% of the way through the ball. Actually, I think I was a little bit less than 50% because I didn't want to play yarn chicken. This is it done up, and so I'm actually really happy with the length. I really like how it sits, and this is how much yarn I have left over. So if you are looking for a 1 skein, 1 hank, 100 gram scarf project on a DK 8-ply weight, this is a good option.
Good option. And again, you can go with a nice bright one or a neutral.
Yes. And so I don't think I have much to say about this. It took me...
No, it's featured a couple of pods.
It has. It went to Japan with me. I found the beginning quite confusing because I couldn't memorise the the chart, and I didn't understand the pattern of it. But once I got to about, like, I don't know, here, like that far into it, I was like, oh. And so I actually did the rest without the pattern.
Yeah.
Until I got to the decreases, and then I just looked at the pattern again just to confirm. And it's basically... just reversed, and it was quite easy. That is my Stay Toasty scarf by Kutova Kika.
So good.
Don't have much more to say about it.
No.
3.5 millimeter needles, 3.75. And it was actually quite a quick knit.
Yep.
Yeah, it was quite a quick knit. But do you have any other?
She knit-fluenced me. I bought this yarn because of that yarn.
It is so soft.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've talked about it a lot, how soft it is, but yeah.
Big fan.
Big fan.
So, one finished object. What's your next?
I do not have any more finished objects.
No.
Okay, my next finished object is not actually here. Many moons ago when I was a crocheter, I crocheted my dad a beanie, and he used to wear it all the time at work, and then one of the guys that he works with really liked it and asked if I could make him one. I've never met this guy. And I was like, yeah, okay. The beanies, like, they're pretty easy. So I crocheted him a beanie, and apparently he loves it and wears it to death. So he's asked for a second one. And I was like, yeah, all right, I'll do it. So I crocheted him the beanie. Now, this beanie, I use the Siggy Baggie beanie pattern by Tyne Soma Hansen. I'm sorry if I've said that wrong. I'll link it down below so you can see. It's a free pattern, and it basically just uses front post double crochet to create the really funky pattern. I didn't think I had a photo of it, but I do, so I'll put a little photo in for you to see. I use the Abbey Road Wool to Be Wild yarn, which is like a 12-ply chunky weight yarn from Spotlight, which is a big chain yarn store in Australia, New Zealand, and I believe Singapore. I only know that because Jamie creates, because her yarn's in there.
Yeah.
I used a 6mm hook, and I used green at the top, ecru, which actually looks more like a light grey than a natural wheaty colour, and then dark grey. And I have so much left over that I'll probably do another beanie for my dad. He's only got 4 of them. Yeah, so that was my second. It took me pretty much 2 days to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I think it was actually 2 nights and half, like 3 nights. But one of the nights it was only like an hour.
Like, after knitting for so long, you kind of go back to crocheting like, oh my gosh, it's so fast.
Well, like one row is like that big because it's a double crochet.
However, you did make me realise I do have another finished object.
Oh, yes.
My goal for this year was to do more amigurumi.
Yes.
I've done one in the first 6 months. So is that more? I don't know. If I do another one, then maybe it's more. So I finished a robin, a bird, for a friend. And I used the yarn, the cotton yarn that I got from Hobby.
Yes,
before they stopped shipping to Australia. So got rid of some of my yarn stash, fantastic, and used some of her amazing colours. And I used the Pick-a-Pow and Hobby pattern for the robin. So I do not have it here with me because it was a gift.
Yep.
So
do you have a photo?
I've got some photos.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we'll pop that up.
Photo in.
I think I left the tail off it because I was like, oh, I'm seeing this person tomorrow. I need to have this finished in like 12 hours.
Love that.
I finished it in 12 hours. I'd mostly done it. Because of Amigurumi, you do it from the top down. And so I literally got up to like the feet. And when you do the feet, you've got to make like 3 legs and 3 toes.
Yeah.
And then join them to the foot. And then do that again for the other one. And that was the part that I just got to. And I was like, oh, I don't feel like doing that. And put the project on hold for ages. But past Kendall had finished everything else and weaved in ends and attached to most other things.
Oh, what?
There was not much left for me to do. So
Past Kendall, looking out for future Kendall.
I know. So, yes, there was another finished object. Insert
Picture
of said Robin here.
That's actually going to be a really good spot to insert the pictures.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Your next one.
My next finished object finally have finished. Hang on, why did I start a row? I have finally finished. Drum roll, please. You're all wondering which one it is that I finished, aren't you? No, you're not.
No,
You
it's not
probably
the
know.
Harriet because that's right here.
That's right here. I'll talk about that in a bit. I finally finished the 3 Swords sweater from the Viking Knits book that I have been making for my husband. He actually wanted to come in and model it for you all. So I will insert a little video of him modeling here. He went out.
Like, he was actually quite disappointed that
He was. Bless him.
he couldn't come sit in.
Well, I said to him, I was like, I'm either going to be wearing it or I need you to come in and model it.
Yeah.
And then neither happened. Anyway, when I first finished it, so I had to go down significantly in the needle size. I think I knit the body on 5mm needles. Oh, so only 1 millimetre. Not that bad. And I did 4.5mm needles for the ribbing. My stitch gauge was on, but my row gauge was quite out. Yeah. So when I did the decreases here, so this is a very interesting construction that I've never done before, but basically you knit the body from the bottom up to the armpit and then the sleeves from the bottom up to where it would join on the armpit, and then you join it all together and then you knit the colour work and then you do decreases. So there's no decreases in the colour work.
Yeah.
And so I just added an extra row here and there.
Yeah.
But I found that when I did the collar, it kind of had a little bubbly effect.
Yeah.
But it has blocked out, and as he wears it, it actually fits him so beautifully. He has worn it, I think, every single day since, except for maybe 1 or 2.
It's a sign of a good knit.
Yes. And I mean, look at this beautiful colour work.
Amazing.
Like, how good does that look?
Yeah.
For my second ever, colour worky situation. But I mean, this yarn was quite easy to work with. This was the Bendigo Woollen Mills Bounce 12 ply. I cannot remember it's alpaca. I think it's like nearly 50% alpaca, and then there's viscose polyamide nylon, I think. Yeah. But yes, finally finished. And so this one came out of this book. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's your first knit from that book, isn't it?
My first knit from that book. Part of me was like, it'll be my only knit from that book, but I might. I don't love the bottom-up construction, but it actually wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, and I do really like how this fits him.
And once you've done the body and sleeves, like it's just...
The rest went so quickly, but the body was painful. Yeah. I don't know what about going bottom up on a body is more painful than going down.
Well, you're starting with a really high count rather than increasing to a high count of stitches.
Yeah, but I did end up knitting probably, I don't know, an inch. Is that an inch?
Yeah.
More on the body than I thought I would need. Yeah. And an 1.5 inches more on the sleeves than I thought I would need, because I thought I'd rather them be slightly longer than too short, because that's always been his complaint. Yeah. And it turned out perfectly. Great. So if you are going to make it, take that into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is my second and final. I've got these little tags That's
they
my
new.
no. I've had them for like when I was crocheting. That's my Instagram says Crafting Creations. Except that says Sarah's Crafting Creations, and my husband designed this little logo for me, and I got them printed on these little tags, and so I put that in so that he knew which way was the front and the back.
Yeah, yep. I have to do that for a few of mine, and I haven't ordered tags yet.
Yeah. So yeah, that is my
Woohoo!
final finished object.
Good job. Would you like to do your blocked Harriet update?
Oh, yes. So I had someone in the comments warn me to be careful when blocking the Harriet because it fits me like a glove, and I completely agreed. I was in love with the fit and I was really scared to block it. But the more I wear it, I felt like it kind of, I don't know whether it shrank back up, and it was just a fraction too short in my sleeves and in the body. And so I did finally block the Harriet, and I did a little stretching of the sleeves and the body, and then when I tried it on, it wasn't fully dry, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'll insert if I can, because I sent it on Instagram, so I don't know if I can dye it. I sent it to Kendall. This, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like this, and the sleeves are down to here, and I was like, I've ruined it.
If you've been with us for a while, it was very reminiscent of the Salty Days sweater blocking incident.
Oh my gosh, traumatic. Anyway, it dried fully, and it is honestly the perfect fit now. I don't know why I held it up because you can't see that, but the drape, like the drape of the bottom there, is perfect. The sleeve length is perfect. It's like here now. I did put a little bit of elastic around here.
Yep.
Because I didn't like how it was. So the collar would sit here instead of being a mock, and then this part would be all the way down here. Yeah. It looks a little funny, but
I don't think
it's okay. I had to do quite a loose elastic. I couldn't do tight.
Yeah.
But anyway, for my friend that commented saying, be careful, thank you. I was careful, and it has turned out, and I'm really happy with it. And I'll insert footage of the perfect fit. Yay!
There you go. All right.
Whips.
Well, whips. Works in progress. I'm holding one in my lap.
You are.
So, last podcast I did a live try on because I hadn't tried it on before the pod. This is the Semper Sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, and I'm working it up in the Bendigo Woollen Mills Rustic Tweed, 8-ply in the linen, and we are almost done. Life has been a bit hectic lately, or I could have had 2 finished jumpers.
Yeah.
But this is what we're working with. It is quite a cropped jumper, but I have tried it on and it is okay.
Okay.
And it hasn't been blocked. I'm doing this whole thing without mid-project blocking, and I'm assuming it will drop a little bit because it's a very
This blocked and dropped a lot. Yeah.
Very tight gauge.
Yeah.
On that, I did my swatch. I did a swatch.
Woohoo!
Everyone, I did a swatch. And I was totally off gauge. So I was like, that's okay. I will drop down a needle size. So I'm doing this on 3.5. 8-ply on 3.5. It's a hard slog.
I did this for
on 4.
On 4, and it hurt my hands.
So it's not hurting my hands, but it is very, 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 very...
Oops. Let me move.
Very, very, very tight.
That is beautiful though. Oh my gosh.
But what do you know? Once I start the project, I'm working on a game. Like,
that's what happened with this.
Yeah.
My gauge
like slightly off gauge.
Is...
Like I shouldn't have gone down a needle size, but I have now, and it's too bad for going with it.
Yeah.
It will be fine. It will fit me fine, and it will block out a little bit. But
this is why Kendall and I tend to not gauge swatch, because we tend to get it right when we don't gauge swatch, because we're very careful about selecting the yarn.
Yeah, we're not going
to the pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then we're just like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to trust this process. And, you know, if it's really off, we'll frog it back and change it. But we've never really had a major... I've had issues where it's been off gauge, but it's always turned out.
Yeah.
And I feel like, please don't come at me in the comments, but I feel like I've not been punished enough yet.
No.
Because when I have this prime example, when I have gauge swatched and taken the time to figure out the needle size,
that's when it goes wrong.
That is when it goes wrong. I will say I did swatch for the Viking knits, and I was still off gauge, and I went, I'm just going to go with it, and it turned out perfectly on gauge. But that's my issue. My swatch is never the right.
No.
It always changes. Anyway.
So because I ended up being slightly off gauge when I was supposed to be on gauge, I then had to add some extra stitches in. So last time we called it the Frankenstein one, because it's kind of like the size 2 with some increases. That's the size 3 in the arms and
Yeah.
So it's not...
It's a bit of a hybrid
really
of sizes.
It's a bit of a hybrid. Just because I was like, well, I'm not going to go back and frog what I've done. And we did try it on last time. It does fit.
Yeah.
But
I love the,
really
again,
like the tweedy.
Similar thing with the raglan
right?
as this, with that like braided look. Hang on. Okay, there you go. Let me hide. No, you can't see it. Go there. There we go. Oh, yeah, there you go.
So yeah, just the detail of the make one left and make one right. Just puts this really nice diagonal
Yeah, I love that.
line down.
Simple pattern.
Simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
pretty
nothing
basic.
to report. Pretty basic.
Yeah.
I ended up picking this one over the Monday sweater, which you'll get to in a moment. I'm interested to see how it blocks out and how it kind of drops after, but literally working my way through the last sleeve here now, and then we're done. So in the next week or so.
And we're finally like having some pretty consistently cold days these days. So get it done for that.
OATY, my neutral sweater should be done and wearable very soon.
Woohoo! I'm so excited.
I know.
Okay, my first whip that I'm going to share, I'll share the one that I am doing right now. It's in my hands.
She has some thoughts and feelings.
I've actually had thoughts and feelings the last couple of, well, I think I only shared it for the first time last pod, and I forgot to tell them. So I wrote them down. Look at me. Who am I? Organised. I am knitting the Boston vest by Drops Design in one of the recommended yarns, which is the Drops Charisma in this colour lavender. My dad chose this yarn, like this colour. I'm knitting this for my dad. And he chose this colour because he likes purple. And he chose a button-up vest because he actually doesn't like jumpers or like enclosed things. He wears like button-up shirts. So he wanted a button-up vest and he doesn't like collars. He's very fussy. Anyway, the pattern. It is a free pattern. So anything I say, I'm not really giving anything away. You can go online and access it easily. It is pretty crappy to follow. I have read it and reread it. So I've finished the front section. Okay, first of all, the construction's weird because normally you do the back and then you pick up and do the front. No. You start with the front. So I finished the 2 front pieces, which are here. Oopsie. Which are here, like this. And I looked at it and went back and I re-looked at it and I was like, have I read the pattern wrong? Is this going to be like deep enough? Was I supposed to do like, I don't know. It wasn't very clear on how often, like basically it was like you increase on a right side row and then you purl on the wrong side row. You only increase on one side. And then when it gets to a certain length, you start increasing for the underarm. But it said repeat these 4 rows. Or repeat 4 times or something. I can't remember exactly. And I was like, wait, am I supposed to have like stockinette in between the increases so it goes longer? Like, is it supposed to be like increase and then 2 rows of knitting and then increase again? But it was the most confusing thing. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see.
But also, when you've, like, why wouldn't you just pick up the stitches from the back to make the front?
Because I don't know. Not only that, when you did do the back, because I'm on the back, you do this little panel and you knit for like 2 centimeters and then you cut the yarn and you do this little panel and you knit for 2 centimeters and then you cast on a bunch and attach this side. So there's this whole like little, I'm halfway through a row. That was really silly of me. Sorry, everyone. So there's this little like, for the collar on the back, like a little dip.
Which is fine, but like.
And so, but then I was like, okay, that's fine. I can do that. But at least let me pick up the stitches for the front.
Yes.
And so, but no, we have to sew them. So I've looked up how to do the mattress stitch, and I'm gonna do that. But
redo it 3 times like me.
No, I don't want to do that. Don't speak that over me. Yeah, I found the pattern really hard to follow. I think once I get past like this, I'm just now knitting back and forth for I can't remember how many centimeters, and then I'll do some increases on the sides for armholes, and then it attaches to that, and then it's just back and forth.
Yeah. Okay.
Read my comments about I hate purling. It's not the purling that I hate. I hate turning my work. Because when I was doing the Stay Toasty scarf, it was annoying me that I have to keep turning my work. It like breaks my flow and my...
Do you have a bowl?
No, but it's like the whole, okay, now I've got to get this, and then I've got to do that, and then I've got to reposition everything. The yarn's now there, and I've got to put it there. No, but the needles even.
No.
And then like,
No,
it's just
to spin the bowl.
What's wrong way? No, I've tried bowls. I don't like it. That's a pain. It's all just, I'm special. Leave me alone. Anyway, so yeah, strange construction, pattern not great. I think I'm okay with it because I've knit a couple of this kind of similar construction before, so I kind of know what it is. I think if you're a beginner,
for someone else.
Yeah, I think I did. I'm not gonna lie, I did look up some other pattern options. Like even bought ones. I was like, it doesn't have to be free. I just chose this one because it looked good and it was free, handy. But a beginner, I think, would find it quite tricky to know what the heck they're supposed to do. Yarn, look, not my favourite to work with. It is quite rustic, but it's fine. I love the colour. I really like the colour. It's very cool.
Nothing wrong with a rustic yarn.
No. But in terms of like just working with it, when I'm knitting with this and the Langhorne back to back.
Yeah, you notice that.
Yeah, you do. It's rougher on the hands. It's just not as nice. But it's not that it's a gross yarn or anything. From my experience, I've knit with CreaBea before. I knit the Salty Days sweater and it blocked out massively, like a huge change in size. And so part of me is kind of hoping that does happen because my dad does like a really oversized fit. And at the moment, I think it's probably a little bit too perfect. But yeah, I was thinking I need to get some buttons for this though, but my dad does metal and some woodworking stuff, mostly metal sculptures. I've got a lot of his things around the house. I should take some photos and put them in because they're really cool. And I was thinking I should get him to make some buttons for this.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Either out of wood or out of metal, if he wants to. He doesn't have to. I can always buy him some, but it is something I'm going to have to think about because I don't know what kind of buttons to put on this.
Yeah, I feel like it needs a contrast rather than a match.
Yeah. No, I don't think I want purple buttons, but anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, cool.
Anyway, that was, I think, all that I had to say about this
Boston
one.
Vest. Yep.
Boston Vest by Drops Design. Yeah. Don't recommend necessarily, but if this kind of pattern is something that you're looking for, like a button-up V-neck vest for a man, there's not that much out there that I could find. So it didn't look that hard, but so I mean, yeah, if you, I wouldn't say don't do it. I'd just say be cautious especially if you're new. If you're not new, go for gold.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a free pattern. I mean, that's a win.
Yep.
There you
go.
Not all my whips. Have you got any more?
Nope. Haven't made any progress on my whim. Haven't made any progress on my Arctic Light.
Whim still in the naughty corner?
Yep.
Cool.
So I've literally just been working on the Sollas and the Semper.
Yep. Love that. Well, I've also been a little bit monogamous because I only have one more whip to talk about, which is so unlike me. When I finished the Viking one, the 3 swords, excuse me, I cast on the Monday sweater. Yay! So, excuse me. Oh, sorry. You can edit out all my little squishy noises. By you, I mean me. Maybe I won't. I don't want to edit. Okay. I finally cast on the Monday sweater by Petite Knit. This is, oopsie, oh gosh. Oh my gosh. This is my first time ever knitting a Petite Knit garment.
Yes.
I have knit a headband and the scarf hood thing.
Yes.
But this is my first garment. And look, you know, it's a basic, just raglan pullover, nothing overly groundbreaking in it, but I really love the collar. Let me show you it. Whoops.
It's so soft.
I know. I know.
Oh my gosh.
So, I am knitting this in Alpaca Allure, which is an Australian Victorian, yep, they're from Macclesfield in Victoria, yarn company. I got this yarn at, where are we? There. Let's focus my face out of the way. Your face out of the way. Oh, we got there. Excellent. I got this at Fibre Feast this year for this jumper specifically. And it is 100% Australian alpaca. 205 meters per 100 grams. It actually looks so much smaller than that, which is interesting. I have had no allergy issues with knitting this.
That's good.
I think I'm cured.
Yay.
Am I cured, or is this one just really well cleaned?
And
it's in hot chocolate, I think it's called. Dark chocolate chip. And so basically he said that they were experimenting and they were mixing a chocolate fleece with a white fleece when they plied it together, and this is what they got, and I love. It looks grey, but in some lights you can see the brown, and I think it's just going to look really good on me. Like, I can see it. I do love this collar. I don't know whether or not I'm going to need a bit of elastic in there once I wear it a bit, because you know the weight of it will drop it, and it's sitting beautifully right now. This is a little bit of a Frankenstein as well. So I cast on the size small because I didn't want as much positive ease as the pattern said. But then as I was doing the raglan increases, I felt like this was getting, this bit here was getting too wide and this was getting too deep. And so I actually stopped the raglan increases at the mark of the extra small. And then knit the body from there. So, last night I finished the body and I'm up to the ribbing, and it has quite a long ribbing. So I'll just be working on that, and then I've got the sleeves, and I will say
I love the look of long ribbing. But the process is okay.
But I think I did like a centimetre of ribbing last night and it didn't take me that long. What shocked me about this is I think it's because I just settled in and I knew that it was this body's going to take me forever, so just roll with the process. But that it felt like it actually flew by. I just had Kendall look up when I cast this on, and I've had this on the needles for 20 days. So including today. That's pretty good.
While working on other projects, it's not like it's...
While I finished the Stay Toasty and while I was still working on my dad's vest. And I have made some progress on my sock, but not much, and I'm not going to bother showing it. It was great. There was something I was going to say. Oh, the yarn. Love this yarn. As I said, haven't had allergy issues. If you're not understanding what I'm talking about, I knit a cardigan with this same brand of yarn and had some not nice hay fevery allergy issues. Thought maybe it was just that yarn, but then I worked with the Harriet Farms.
Yeah.
Juniper Moon Farms.
Yep, Juniper Moon Harriet.
Juniper Moon Harriet. Alpaca, and had the same issue. And so when it came time to this, I was like, oh, I'm a little nervous, but I've been fine.
Good.
And then the other thing, it has still got, I love this though. This is not a complaint. This is like authentically amazing. It still has a lot of vegetable matter in it. So I'll be like knitting and then I'll pick out a little bit of straw. So I don't know. I like that. I feel like that adds to the authentic charm. This is the third hank. This is how much, I mean, I'm up to the ribbing, and this is how much I have left on the third hank. I bought 6, so
you should be fine.
I reckon I'll probably have one left over.
Yeah.
Which is a bit annoying, but you know, that is what it is.
Yay, Toasty scarf.
So yeah, maybe. So maybe more like a Sophie. I feel like with this beautiful pattern, it needs like, it doesn't need texture.
No.
So yes, that is my Monday sweater, and I am so excited to finish it.
Cool.
I'm not casting on my other things that I have planned yet until I finish it. I have been so good this year, and I'm so proud of myself. Anyway, looking forward to that.
On to those other things.
Yes.
That will bring us to acquisitions.
That will, because that was all my whips.
Because that was all your whips. And you have a couple.
I have a lot.
Let me share my one little one that I did forget to bring with me today.
Well, hang on before you do that, because I wanted to say why half my acquisitions I have got. When earlier this year, end of last year, I finished my uni studies. And so earlier this year, I had my graduation ceremony.
Yes.
And my dad and his partner gave me a very generous gift voucher to Skein, Yarn Trader in Port Adelaide. So recently, Kendall and I made a day trip out to Port Adelaide to visit Yarn Trader. Kendall, what did you find while you were there?
Well, I have wanted to make a pair of colourwork socks, and I've had like a really fun, I think it's the Victoria's colourway from Skein Machine, and that's been a really fun colour, but I've just needed a really neutral plain colour sock yarn. So I got a very exciting white coloured sock yarn.
And it was like, Kendall's been looking for
It's actually really hard to find.
Yeah, 4-ply
Really
white sock
Nylon
yarn
mixed with merino.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was like tucked away behind.
well, I mean, I'm short, so this is my eye level, and it was like up here.
Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't behind. It was just not at eye level. Yeah. Then anyway, you found it. You forgot to bring it.
Plain white. Forgot to bring it. It's literally just plain white.
Yeah. What brand is it? Do you know? No, that's okay. We'll put it in. It'll be linked. It'll be linked.
Give me a second. Fiore hand-dyed sock.
Fury, yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
E-Crew.
E-Crew, it was white.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was
White
is that your only acquisition?
That's my only acquisition.
Okay.
My month of June was a 0 grams yarn in, 0 grams yarn out.
Woohoo! I'm not doing the in and out.
No. I bought that yarn on the 1st of July, so I was like,
Yes.
had to go.
June was not a no purchase month for me, and July hasn't either because we did buy it on the 1st of July. June was not a no buy month. Actually, no, I'll go to the June after. I'm going to go with what we got at Yarn Trader. So I did my research before I went to Yarn Trader because I wanted to go in with a plan. There's nothing worse than going into a yarn store when you have, like, I had a gift voucher that I wanted to spend. And it's just so overwhelming because you don't know how much of the yarn you're going to need. You don't know what project you're going to knit. And so I went prepared. I was going to buy yarn for the Elizabeth blouse because I bought that pattern when Petite Knit was having her 2-for-1 sale. But I really want to knit that in a navy possum merino.
Yeah.
And Yarn Trader stock Circus Tonic possum merino, and their colours were a lot more muted, and I don't know what the word to describe it is.
She only had like one anyway.
She didn't have any navy. She had one colour that I wanted, but I had to change the project. She didn't have any navy. She had some blues, but they were very muted. So I scrapped the Elizabeth blouse because I was like, no, I actually have to be true to what I want to knit that in. And so I also bought the Stockholm V-neck pullover, like vest pullover, slipover pattern in that sale. And so I thought, I'm going to knit that. And they had this, now this is where it gets a little wild, friends. Vibrant green, like
Vibrant green.
fluorescent lime green, which is actually my favorite color. Shock, horror. I bet people didn't realize that. My favorite color is lime green.
It's not as fluorescent as she's giving off. It's
for a garment, for me, it is like, it's practically a highlighter for me. Anyway, I really wanted to knit this thing in that, and I was going to hold it with the Circus Tonic mohair, which was the same color combo. When I got there, they only had one hank of the Possum Merino in that color, and I didn't like any of the other colors, and I was really sad. But it was okay because I still knew that, okay, I'm going to buy yarn for the Stockholm vest, and I'm a little bit more open to other alternatives. But I had my heart set on that color, and I just like the other colors were not speaking to me. And then I saw out of the corner of my eye, should have opened this earlier.
Yeah.
This yarn. This is the Rebel Light by Outlaw Yarn.
New Zealand based, aren't they?
I believe so, yes. It is 80% merino and 20% New Zealand half-bred yarn. They're 50-gram balls, and there is 193 meters per 50 grams. It said that it was like a 5-ply sport weight kind of thing, so I'm really hoping that is the case. And then I got myself some of the Fibre Spates Cumulus Alpaca Silk to hold with it. Look at that beautiful combo.
So good.
I didn't realize that this was alpaca silk. I just felt how soft it was and went, oh my gosh, I love this. And it actually has a lot less yardage per grams than I was expecting. So I actually might be one ball shy. Yeah. So I might have to get another one, or I might just not do this. We'll see how it looks. But yes, this is very different for me. Are you all proud of me? But I think it's going to work, and I'm going to knit the Stockholm vest in this.
Fun.
I'm so excited. I've already hanked one up, and it's taken everything in me not to cast on.
I bet.
So many times. Hang on, let me just do that. I have nearly cast on so many times and gone, no, because I need to finish these two things. Like I need to finish the vest for my dad, first of all, but also at the same time, the weather has been so vest perfect at work, and I'm like, oh, I could so wear a vest today. Anyway, when I calculated how much all of that was going to cost, and I still had some money left over, so I bought myself a little project bag. Cute. Isn't this gorgeous?
And fitting that you should buy something beachy from Port Adelaide.
Yeah, and a really cool, there it is, like really cool stripey on the inside. This is by Crystal Cat Stitchery, and it has a little handle, which I loved the handle. And so, yeah, all up, out of pocket, I only had to pay $6 because I also had some rewards.
Yes, that's right.
So that was my very successful trip to Yarn Trader. Obviously, my other yarn acquisition was the dark grey, green and ecru for the beanie that I knit my dad's friend. That's, I don't know, does that count?
Yeah.
And my final acquisition.
Oh, yes. Her final acquisition.
This was an absolute splurge. I have been saving towards this for a while. And I ended up, I was like, this is taking me too long to save this. And I had a pair of R.M. Williams boots that I wasn't wearing. And so they were just like slightly too tight on my feet. So I sold them and I made up the rest of my money.
So good. What could it be? What could it be?
I got myself an Ashford E spinner. Skein, I'd gone into Skein Machine when I bought the braid, and I told them that I was...
Don't open it till you finish talking.
Yeah. I told them that I was saving for the e-spinner, and JMO told me that they were getting an order in, and there was for a customer, and he'd ordered a couple of extra.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, nah, I need to do this while he's got it because I'm too impatient. I don't like waiting for things. So I messaged and I said, has the order arrived? And he said, it has. And I said, can you put one aside for me? And he said, done. Yay. So I went in and I picked it up. Oops. I'm not going to take it out of the bag, but look at this beautiful thing. Ooh. So good. And I will show you what I did. So I showed you the braid that I bought while I was there last time. I have spun it up.
Fun.
So I've spun it, I've plied it, I've blocked it, because you actually, fun fact, have to block your spins. And look at that colour. How good is that? And so now I'll figure out what I'm going to...
Yeah. What are you going to do?
With it. I think I'm going to do a scarf. Yeah. I don't know how to...
Is that the whole braid?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It's 110 grams, I think it is, or 105. It was slightly over 100 grams, which was surprising. I never know how to like spin these up properly. Yeah, it never works. No. Anyway, so that has been really fun. I am participating in knitting with Ev's Tour de Fleece. Mm-hmm. But my goal, I only had one goal, and that was to spin this. Yeah. And I have met that in the first week, so yay!
Oh, so fun.
Dude, that is everything.
That is everything.
Did we smash through that or not really?
Not really.
Yes, it's about the time.
Yeah.
Did you just drop a stitch?
Yeah. Unintentionally.
Oh.
I'm fixing. It was twisted.
Oh.
It was fine. It was where I had...
Good on you for going back and fixing.
I'm going to.
Do you want a crochet hook?
No. We live dangerously these days.
Okay. I have one literally right behind me.
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't think there's much more to report.
No.
I'm a bit like once I finish this Semper Sweater, I don't really have anything necessarily like in queue to cast on.
And you had that before as well.
Yeah.
What about your plans for the start of the year?
So I've got the leftover yarn from this, and I'll probably do a scarf. I've got the sock, so I might just do like small projects for a little bit. I did want to get some knitting for olive silk to do a top. Yep. And I did want to do the Hay Sailor top again. Yep. Because I never quite found the right yarn for that. Yep. But both of them require ordering yarn. Yeah. And I should probably go back and finish the Whim or the Arctic Light. No. I don't think you have to do that. Well, at least work on the Arctic Light. Yeah, maybe. I need to work on the Arctic Light. So, I've been thinking about it. I keep seeing people's cable jumpers. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I do want that. And I am a sleeve away. A sleeve and a bit of the body. Like it's not. Meanwhile, I'm still most of the body and both sleeves. That's fine. It's very overwhelming. Yeah. So I think even if I don't go back to the Whim, if I go back to the Arctic Light before or even if I order some more and then go into the Arctic Light while I'm waiting for it to arrive, something like that. That's a good idea. Do that one. Yeah. But I guess you do that. I guess, you have got the Whim and the Arctic Light in the background for when you are thinking up new plans. Yeah. I just have so many plans. Yeah. So what I am going to do with the Elizabeth blouse, by the way, Katie from the Meandering Knitter on YouTube did an interview with Louie and Lola Yarns. They have a really nice navy possum merino. Yeah. And so I'm going to order that, and I'm going to knit the Elizabeth blouse in that one. Yeah. And my other option is ordering a kit from them for the Alma cardigan or the new Pepperberry one, which is so tempting. Or even some of the Instant Crush ones they've got. So we'll see. I think Katie did just order a kit. She did. Yeah, so maybe you guys can like kit together. Of course you have. I just can't say on the colour. So no, that's fair. But we'll always have something to chat about on the pod. Don't you worry. Yeah. This is not my I've got nothing to talk about. This is my I'm just plans. What were your plans at the start of the year? Oh, one of them was to to do something with steeking, which would be the Alma cardigan.
Yep.
And another one was the Instant Crush, which is like the mohair, really colourful palette. So
Yeah.
they're on there. Or go back and finish some amigurumis that I haven't finished.
Do you know what you could do for the mohair, colourful whatnot? The fibre folklore that Skein Machine has. Is that what it's called?
Folklore and Fibre?
Folklore and fibre maybe? Yeah, I don't know. And they have some really nice pretty pinky ones
I know.
that I nearly bought.
I know. She almost bought pink.
I don't dislike pink. I mean, the reason that I bought this particular pattern was because it was the only one that wasn't pink. It's not that I love oceans and shells.
I think I'm just going to live in accessory land for a little bit, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. We can do that. It's our knitting world.
Yeah. I'm like, at some point, I'm going to get to a point where I don't need any more knitted garments for a little bit. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
I still need lots of knitted garments. I'm still in the process of knitting up my dream wardrobe. Knitting and sewing. When it gets a bit warmer, I'll probably...
Give me another month when we film again, and I'll have changed my mind.
Yeah, you've had a lot going on lately, so you've been a bit busy to be thinking about these things, whereas I've just been scrolling YouTube and Instagram and finding all the patterns, and I'm like, ooh, I want that one. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Let us know what you think Kendall might like to knit. Yeah. Let me know if you have tried this yarn before. It's my first time using it. I did get a message from Duchess of Sussex. I hope I said that right. And she said that this is one of her favourite yarns. So I'm looking forward to trying it. Yeah. I don't know.
Fun.
Any other?
Nah, got nothing.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.